Hello, everyone. Welcome to the weekly SIG Compute meeting. Yep, and I think that we can jump right to the agenda. So, Michal, how are you doing?
Hey. Good. Yeah, I've added one question, probably best for you, Itamar, about the C groups V1 removal. I understood it was discussed before, and I just stumbled upon it again because I pushed that update from run C to C run, and as a follow-up, like cleaning up and removing the V1 support sounds logical. So I was wondering if maybe we're ready for that.
So I definitely agree. We did move it to maintenance mode a long while ago. So yeah, I mean, maybe from Reddit's perspective, maybe I should have a final look that we don't have any users relying on that. But I don't think we are, and it's being removed in Kubernetes. So from my perspective, we are 90% that it's fine to just remove it now. Worst case, we can just choose a date in which it will be removed. But yes, I think it's much needed. I would also add that C groups in our repo is a bit of a mess, to be honest. I always wanted to give it a little polish, but I never had the time recently. So if you want to do something more drastic over there, we could discuss about it, because I think that this area needs care and love.
Right. So yeah. So my reasoning for removing it is that, again, in Kubernetes in 135 they are disabling it completely and just hiding it behind an extra, I think, feature gate if you want to keep using it, but out of the box it's not going to be there anymore. And from the Kubernetes point of view, I don't see any reason to keep using it really, because all the platforms do have V2 support for a while as well. So yeah, if that's okay, I would just clean it up. Before the next step, and that's what I had an offline discussion with Lubo about it, because he was complaining in a similar way about the C group mess. And he pushed me to try to move to the run C, sorry, C run, I keep confusing them. The new version, basically, of the libraries, just to get rid of the old code and CVs that shows up. And part of the discussion was also that the eBPF filtering that we generate, which overrides the default OCI filtering, is quite nasty and fragile. And we've discussed an idea that we could perhaps try to, instead of regenerating and replacing the full filter, to just edit it and add the hot plug devices that we require, but otherwise preserve whatever the pod is started with from OpenShift or Kubernetes or whatever. It sounds doable. I mean, you still have to sort of do some low-level manipulation with the eBPF, but it still sounds a lot better than just blindly overriding everything, just relying that it happens to be the same as the original. So yeah, I do want to look at that, and I hope it will make it a bit less fragile for future. All right.
Yeah. Sounds great. Thank you very much for doing that. I would also add that there are many other problems in cgroup that I'm aware of. So, for example, we edit the cgroup FS directly, but if it's managed via systemd, it's a problem. So maybe we can synchronize somewhere, or open issues or something like that, so we know what's missing at least. But yeah, thank you very much for stepping in.
Thanks. All right.
Jan, you're next. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. And I also just managed to figure out the answer to my own question. It seems my PR for tracking it for 1.9 release was posted before the webs all got updated with the tracker at the top. So it didn't include the target date at the top and the metadata, but it included it at the bottom. So I think that's probably why it was just dropped. So I would like to change my question to, can we still include it in the milestone? And I'll just quietly add a PR to fix the slight issue there.
I mean, yeah, I don't think it's a problem if the web update merged already. Sounds good to me. Just if you can, please add the missing section above. But yeah, other
Yeah.
than that, I think it's fine, unless someone else thinks differently.
Yeah, I'll add this section.
Thank you very much. And Asif, how are you doing?
Doing good. Wait for just checking my mic is working, right?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, good. Okay, I wanted to just clarify, the experimental migration options. We talked about it. Uh, Basically, I think, I can't remember earlier this week or end of last week, but we talked about it. I didn't really fully understand what the conclusion is. Do we, implement it without this web being merged or,
So I can
because,
tell you what I understood from the conversation, and maybe someone can correct me if they think otherwise. What I think is that basically this web is kind of redundant because what it says basically is that the other webs would use experimental fields, right? So the other webs already say like which knobs they want to expose, and they can just add them to the same experimental struct that you were mentioning in the web. The thing is that I'm just not sure that the web is needed, right? The other webs can just continue without it, add the knobs they want to add, and we simply don't need, another web to specifically, uh, yeah, target
okay.
this. Uh,
Sounds good. And the second thing related to this I wanted to add is so end-to-end tests for those other webs, like the migration stall detection, they require modifying certain quote unquote advanced options only for the purpose of testing. Is that okay if we modify them through this experimental migration option, especially considering as we discussed, within a few release cycles, we want to remove it, but I guess maybe temporarily. Is that okay?
I mean, I don't see a reason why not, to be honest.
I
I
see
mean,
Eddie has his hands raised.
just a quick, just to your point. So, as if you specifically mean the multi-FD setting, right? Which,
Yes, well, actually, not just the multi-FD setting, but you know how initially QEMU QEMU and QBERT have a initial target downtime that defaults to 300.
Mhm.
When testing stall detection, it it can be useful to set the target downtime to I don't know 1 millisecond to make it impossible to naturally converge because the whole point is I want to test stall detection is working properly.
Right. Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, thanks. Sorry, Eddie, for
Uh,
delay.
You are allowed, it's fine. Only regarding the first question, I think that there is one thing that needs to be fixed probably in the other webs is to currently, if I remember correctly, they point to this other web and they were merged. So just go there instead of a pointer, just specify the feature gate and that's it. Like update it with what it needs to what
Actually,
it
also talking of the feature gate, previously these experimental settings were all under the same field,
yes.
like spec.experimental, and were blocked by the same feature gate. And though that feature gate was different from the feature gate the other webs were using.
Okay, so whatever, but I think in those web there was a pointer to this general
Yes.
access. So just drop it, and if you need to put a different sentence then and just think it's important. Otherwise, it will not be up to that. And regarding the second question that you think, I hope that I advise not to add it to the end-to-end tests that we are running all the time, because that will cause you may cause a lot of flakiness. I think it can be executed like either you will have a different lane for it, for this experiment, and it's not like you can have another lane and make it non-require, what is it, like not blocking or something like that, and you will see how it works. Just which makes sense.
So, like there was an extensive discussion, I think, with Vladek about this shadow mode of operation where the code would run alongside the current behavior and just log the possible changes that it would do. So it shouldn't really affect anything.
Right, but this is for the end-to-end tests.
Right. Yeah, but still, right? Like it's
right.
something that unless you make a horrible mistake in the code, then it should not really affect any flakiness in the live migrations, unless you really enable the behavior.
Sorry, Eddie, could you clarify what you mean by using experimental options could cause flakiness?
If you look in the end-to-end tests themselves, right? Most of the feature gates that are introduced are like very specific to testing something, like testing a specific behavior, right? So what will happen there are two cases. Either these are enabled at the project, like at the beginning of the test, it gets enabled, and then all the tests are just working with that enabled. Or it is enabled only under the group of the test, like in a specific file or a group of tests that needs it. It enables it. You run the test and then it closes it back. So it will not interfere with other functionalities. To be careful. So if you take now an experiment thing and you enable it at the cluster level, and then you run other tests from other scenarios, you may affect how they behave. And this is not something that is going to run probably in users. That's the thing that needs to be protected, I guess.
Okay, so would you say it's okay that you run these have a separate lane for this during the alpha and beta? Because right now I was putting it all in the live migration lane. But so have a separate lane during alpha and beta, but then after it's merged, just have this be the same with normal live migration lane after it GAs.
I think Radek and Itamar can answer that. It's the risk of those, like you have now compute migration lanes that are, I don't know how stable they are. So if you add another thing, will it unstabilize it or it will be the same? I don't know. So you either use this existing one, in my opinion, on the safe side would be to just create another one and run it as well. Either as scheduled jobs or as however you find useful.
But I don't understand. These are specific tests that Asif is going to add and Michal. So there would be something that's like why this is going to destabilize the rest of the.
So I think it makes sense actually. Like if I may, so sure. Like for now, we wouldn't turn it on for all the other tests, right? Indeed, we would just write the dedicated tests for the feature itself. But as part of the future stabilization and trying to automate these settings, it would be, of course, beneficial to set these at the cluster level and re-execute the current live migration tests with these modified settings and modified algorithms, right? But that will only come in beta before the GA, I guess.
Yeah, but even then, we want this to become destabilized because it will reveal the actual problems.
Yeah. Yes, but at that stage, I would expect that we could indeed change the cluster defaults, and hopefully it wouldn't really destabilize the lines, right?
So just to answer Radek, if you enable the feature at the cluster level at the beginning, right? So the whole code that was added and was protected by the feature gate will be used. And that's like that's why we have the feature gate to make sure it's not used. So if you think it's fine to do it at the cluster level and all the other tests to pass through this code, that's fine. But you need to be like it's
Eddie,
not
but serial, if we put this as serial, they could just enable that at the beginning of the scope and then
Yeah.
disable it, right?
Yes, that's correct. This is what I'm saying, but not all the tests are done like that. Many tests
Yeah.
are enabled at the cluster level and then executed. And still, if you do that in the existing, I mean, this is a risk that you need to consider. If these tests are, they need to be stable, because if they are not stable, then it will interfere with all your migration tests, like with the whole lane. Like you add this test now in alpha when you experiment, and if they are not stable and it will fail, then it will fail the whole suite of migration tests. That's the risk that you are taking, and it may be okay. I'm not saying it should not be. You just need to think about it.
Sure.
Yeah, I'll just say a quick sentence, and I think then it's time to move on. I get the concern. I mean, I think that what happens if an alpha feature, for example, screws up the node? It could happen, and I think the risk of destabilizing the lanes is something to take into account. I don't know. Maybe we should have a periodic lane that runs every few hours with all the alpha features enabled or something like that. But I
that's
mean, yeah, it's. Mhm.
I understand. I mean, this is for every feature. Any feature that is being developed can destabilize anything. That's why that's why we add this as a in isolated tests, and then we see how it affects everything else, right? So I don't see a difference here.
Yeah, I wonder, is it a big deal to like build a variant of the current like migration line that would not be mandatory? I mean, because it makes sense. I mean, these new settings are supposed to be, becoming the new optimal default, and they shouldn't really affect anything if they're turned on. So yes, we indeed would want to see these results, but
It's possible. It just will. I mean, this another lane will not save anything from anyone. Like it will just fail always. So it's just if you add the specific test that you need in the existing lane, from me it's the same thing.
no, I meant specifically a line that would turn these things. Let's pick the compression as an example. I mean, it's not something that we would want to turn on always, but let's assume we would. So, just create a variant of the current lane that would turn on the compression for all these live migrations, just to make sure that it doesn't affect all the other live migration tests. I guess for the downtime, for the stall detection, it's important.
But folks, I think that we have to move on. We have two more topics there, but it's an interesting discussion. Let's continue it elsewhere.
Okay. I did have another topic, super quick. This is I started a effort to refactor a lot of the device plugin code several months ago. At the time, a few issues were raised. Number one, that original PR I had was way too big. Second was I was told, quite reasonably so, to use more of a interface-based approach. Previously, I was using essentially like function pointers, and you just call the function. The function pointers were in a struct, and it was not the cleanest approach. So I addressed these two things in like these three PRs, and yeah, if someone could take a look.
I took a look at the first one, which seemed to me pretty, straightforward and well structured with the numerous commits. Looked fine to me.
Steve, thank you for bringing it up. I will take a look next week.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, I have a question on this. I'm sorry I missed the initial discussion around this, but what was the original motivation of refactoring this? Are there certain use cases which are not possible with the current code, or it's just
It's just that the current device plugin code has a lot of copy and paste and inconsistent behavior. There are even cases where there's a bug with all device plugin code, and people added a fix to just one of them, but the other device plugins didn't receive that fix because the whole code base for device plugins is just copy and paste. The goal and motivation is to improve the maintainability of this area.
I see. Okay. Yeah, I mean, the only reason why I'm bringing this question is the the device plugins API has historically had issues, and like at a strategic level, Kubernetes is trying to move to DRA instead of device plugin. So I'm curious if the effort in this refactor versus the reward will be worth it.
Well, I think it is. I mean, this is something that we currently have, right? I mean, it's still we still need to get to DRA, and some of the things will take a while, right? I mean, at the beginning it will be alpha, beta, and then only stable. So for all of this time, we need the base to be stable.
Okay, yeah, makes sense. I mean, the only small issue I have with the refactor is we are touching things that are running in production with this refactor. So like, how do we make sure that we don't introduce bugs with this kind of massive refactoring? But I guess we can discuss that on the PRs.
That's definitely a fair question and a real concern. Yeah, we can move on.
Thank you. Lee, you're next.
Yeah, just hopefully a straightforward VEP exception request. I was out sick last week, unfortunately, so I couldn't shepherd this one over the line. It has gone through pretty extensive review, from Daniel and Andrea from the Deliver team. It is actually the foundational piece for the ARM64 secure boot VEP that actually did merge last week. So apologies to the folks that merged that if I wasn't clear that this needed to go in first. But yeah, it's pretty much ready to go for alpha. There is an implementation PR that Daniel has also reviewed and is pretty well progressed. So yeah, if possible, it would be great to get this in, because then I could do the ARM64 VEP at the same time in this cycle and not have to delay both of them. So yeah, apologies for last week. It's kind of totally out of my hands, being sick and everything. So yeah, any concerns or anything, feel free to hit me up ASAP and I can try to address them. But like I said, hopefully it's a straightforward alpha VEP for 1.9.
I will definitely try to have a look as soon as possible. Does somebody else have any thoughts about this? All right. Thank you, Lee. And Ali, how are you doing?
Hey, yeah, I just have two quick points to make. One, I see a lot of PRs for DRA accruing, and I think the wait, there was a different one. Yeah, the first one, the bug fix for multi device one, I think that one needs immediate attention, because my hope is we can fix this quickly and backport it to 1.8. So any root approver, having some cycles to look at it will be very helpful. And
Yeah,
then,
I'll have a look.
okay, thanks. The other ones are not as high priority, but they are still put here in terms of priority. The second one depends on the second one blocks the network alpha work, so that one is higher priority, and others we can discuss in other calls. But I have just put it here for completeness.
Yep, all sounds good to me. Yeah, some of these PRs have been on my checklist, just hadn't had the bandwidth to get to it yet. But yeah, I'll try to get to it as soon as possible. And thank you, Igor, for helping with that.
Yeah, sure.
Just a quick note with regards to 17490. I approved it, but I need the co-approver's assistance because it also changes libVMI, and I can't approve this one as well.
Thank you. Yep, so just in time, we finished all of the agenda. Any last words before we wrap up? All right, thank you very much, and see you next week. Bye-bye. Have a great day.
Thank you. Thank you. See you.